All
Hello,
right, you're recording.
welcome to Marketing Shop Talk. So, first of all, this is going to be awesome because we've never done video before. So, this is my face. This is what I look like. These are my kids' toys in the orange room, my favorite place. Tim can't be here this evening. He sends his regrets. He wish he could come. But we do have an awesome guest, Mr. David Deal. He is freaking awesome. We spent a lot of time together. Well, not a lot of time, not enough time together when we were in Canada serving a mission there. So that was where we met and we got to know each other. And since that time, I've been trying to grow my business, but he's been growing businesses, real estate guru, right? And vending machines and the self-reliance stuff, podcasts and everything. I mean, he's done a lot, and I think he's going to be great to hear about his ideas on marketing, what he thinks, what he does. So let's welcome him on the show.
Well, hey, thanks so much, buddy, for having me on. I really appreciate, you making the invite. So, yeah, man, I tell you, if you have thought about it, I've probably attempted it. So just ask me first before you try some, because the dumb ideas, I'll tell you if they work or they don't. And the good ideas, I'll tell you that those work too.
Well, I want to hear a funny story. Tell me a funny marketing story first.
Oh, man. Okay. One of the funniest ones I've ever been a part of. Okay. This is probably one of the most genius marketing strategies. And I'm the kind of guy that's an opportunist, right? So if something presents itself, I just jump at the chance. And so I get a call from a buddy one day. And this is a guy that I'd gotten to know. I was out in California doing some solar stuff. We were starting a company out there. Anyway, long story short, we'd moved on from that. And I get a random call. And he goes, "Hey, do you want a ticket to the Silicon Slopes conference thing in Salt Lake?" And I was like, "Yeah, I actually kind of want to go to that." And so I go down and I meet him and I get my ticket. And I walk into this room and the dude has on a purple jacket with a ton of $2 bills taped all over it. And then he has this big like top hat thing and he has $2 bills taped all over that. And I'm like, I don't know what's happening right now, but forget the conference. I'm in on whatever you're doing because I want to be a part of it. So I don't even know what company it is. I don't have a clue what's even going on. And I'm like, give me a shirt, give me some money, let's go. And so we walk around this conference for the next 2 days and we're handing out $2 bills. And then we're handing out these big freaking sugar cookies that are amazing. And we're just giving them to people. We're talking to them. I had to like, I was out for like 2 hours. I had no idea what the company even did. And I had to go look it up on my phone as we were walking back over to the convention center. So I did a quick like overview. And then I just started like talking about it and talking about this amazing company and this cool stuff that they're doing. And dude, it was the funniest, most fascinating adventure because we stole the show. Like there were people that had booths there. We didn't pay for a booth. Like this was total guerrilla marketing. And it worked. People knew exactly who we were. They knew what we were up to. And what happens when like a $2 bill? What happens when you get a $2 bill? What do you do with it?
I keep it.
You keep it. You stick it in the drawer. And you're like, this is amazing. This is like gold, right?
Oh, yeah. Like when do you see a $2 bill?
Never. But guess what? You can print hundreds of thousands of them. You just put an order in at the bank and they'll print you a ton of them.
No, really?
Yes. Isn't that crazy?
That's a heck of a business card, man.
I know it. One of the best investments you'll ever make because people will keep that thing forever.
Yeah.
And they will remember the story behind it.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. So what did the company do?
So the company now is actually one of the largest, fastest growing companies in Utah. And it's called Divvy Pay. And so, yeah, what it basically does is it's a business solution for companies trying to keep track of budgets for employees. It's a fascinating concept, really cool company. They're doing some amazing things and they're just blowing it off the rails. But this was like beginning phases, man. They had just like barely launched prior to this show. And I really believe it kicked it off, because you had companies here that were like some of the biggest tech startup companies. This was like the place to be for upcoming Utah tech culture. And it was a ride. It was fun.
Stole the show.
They really did. It was so funny. They had one of his buddies was like an NFL football player for, oh crap, who was it for? I forget. Anyway, it was like he was just following us around, like signing autographs and stuff. Like, it was amazing. And I think that's the biggest key to marketing, right? Is if you can capture somebody's attention outside their typical mode of thinking, outside their normal progress of whatever it is, their day-to-day grind,
yeah,
then you've hooked them, right? You've got something different because you offset their routine.
Yeah. And that's what it is, right? Marketing is trying to capture the attention of your target audience. And in some cases, anybody, right? But that's the key to marketing, is trying the most effective way to get people. And obviously $2 bills are really effective at getting people's attention.
Yeah, it really was. It was, I was blown away at how well it worked. And just, dude, like the interactions of the people, right? I mean, it was like good, heartfelt, genuine conversation. It wasn't, hey, here's my business card, like, let's have a conversation. It was like, hey, you want a $2 bill? And people would look at you like, what? What do you mean? Dude, so I took this strategy, and we were doing a home show, and it was a different product. But no joke, man, I had $2 bills. I even had a $100 bill that I took, and I dropped it on the ground. Do you know how many people walked past the $2 bills and even the $100 bill? They walked past it.
Really?
And then you had a few that would stop and they'd look at it, and we'd be watching them, and I'd be filming them.
Uh-huh.
And it was like social experiment. And I think, really that's what marketing is. It's like psychology and social experimenting and just seeing what people do and how they react. And oh man, anyway, so they walked past it. Finally, I had a couple people like pick it up, and they went to walk away, and then they turned and they looked at me and they go, okay, what's the catch? What is this? Yeah. And I'm like, I am teaching people how to put money back in their pocket. You can keep the $2 bill. You don't have to give it back to me. That's yours. And I'm teaching. So I'm paying you to listen to me for 5 minutes.
Good idea. How successful was that?
Very. I mean, we're talking at a show, where maybe you pick up 10 or 15 leads. We had hundreds of leads.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it was amazing. But the fascinating thing too was how many people would walk past you. Like, I'm handing out a $2 bill now. Hey, do you want a $2 bill? What's the catch? I'm teaching people how to put money back in their pocket. No, it's okay. You can keep it. Okay, bye. Like, I don't want to talk to that person anyway.
Yeah, I was going to say, he obviously isn't your target market, because he's got it figured out.
Exactly.
But
and so it's pinpointed.
Yeah, I mean, that was a total fill. That's genius. That is genius.
Yeah, it was a good one. I definitely would recommend it. Just all you got to do is go to the local bank or give them a call. Tell them you want $100 or $200 in $2 bills, and that will go a long way.
I think I'm going to try that.
Do it, man. Do it. Tell me how it goes.
So what happened in the $100 bill? Did you lose it?
That one I think I kept, because I was just like, nah, I just want to see if people would actually do something. I probably should have given it away, but the guy who picked it up, he just handed it back to me. He's like, okay, well, what's this about? Like, you got my attention now. What's this about?
Uh-huh.
And so then we had like a sweet 5-10 minute conversation.
That's genius. So I want to go back to the guy. He was in a purple suit, right? With all the bills. Mm-hmm. Okay. So tell me about this guy. What was he like? Was he super energetic? Was he goofy? Tell me about him.
He is one of the coolest, most fascinating people I've ever met. Let's put it that way. And energetic, in the zone. He's kind of like the Einstein of our day, I'll call it, right? Where, dude, in that mind, like, his brain works in a whole different way, in a whole different dynamic than most people could ever imagine. Some people think he's crazy, but reality, he's a genius.
Yeah.
And he just goes. And he's one of the most heartfelt, genuine, authentic, just amazing quality people I've ever met. And, you know, we become very, very good friends. And this is a guy where literally we were in the worst situation we could possibly be in when we met. And I think that's what really forged that friendship and the relationship. But the coolest part, man, is, you know, I love even, you know, our story of reconnecting, where the value of relationships, that's one of your greatest strategies in life and business and anything. It's about who you know, right? And if you can develop, like, learn how to develop the skill of developing relationships, then no matter what happens, you can reconnect with somebody 2, 5, 10 years later.
Oh yeah.
And that person, you know, you can add value to them and they can add value to you. And it's just a win-win situation for everybody.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I really like the way you said that. That's just perfect. I mean, relationships, and that's kind of what you try and do in marketing too, right? Is try and build relationships with your customer, with the general public. I mean, that we all know PR is a big thing, and the marketing agency or department has a big say on how things happen. Like this Divvy Pay, I've never looked into them. Are they kind of quirky? They kind of like the guy in the purple suit. Is their website kind of funny?
Divvy, that's the funny thing, is the Divvy company is like super, just like, this is what we're doing, and like, this is our solution, and we're really good at what we do. And it was just this mastermind genius behind the concept of creating awareness.
That's awesome.
I mean, they're way cool guys, but yeah, I mean, we're not like, they brought him on as I'm trying to remember like what he was, but basically like the business relationship development person. And that's what, I mean, he's good at. He's good at creating relationships.
Perfect. So that kind of segues into what I wanted to talk about, what this podcast was about. So this podcast, and I'm real excited you're with us, is how we can use marketing in our everyday life. And I kept coming back to the guy in the purple suit because I thought that was freaking awesome.
It was good. It was one of the best ones I've ever seen by far.
Yeah. But just a great example of that. So how can we use marketing in our everyday life? I thought about that a lot, and it came to mind, like, how do you attract somebody? And I kept thinking about, well, what if I was a rancher and I raised cows or pigs or whatever, but I dressed homeless? Like, am I going to get people that think I'm serious? Are they going to believe me? Am I going to be able to socialize with other cowboys? Probably not, because I don't look the part, right? And looking the part is really, really important. Now, if I go out and I dress like a cowboy and I hang out with other cowboys, I'm probably going to find other ranchers, and then I can get some business relationships going, right? Or find some friendships maybe. And I think your presentation of yourself can help you succeed at something that you want to do, right? Am I right by saying that?
Absolutely. I think, like, as I'm processing what you're talking about, I think the first place that I'm going to go is, number one, I love when people say they hate selling and they hate sales. Okay. And this is where it comes back to marketing and selling yourself, because every moment that you spend on the face of this planet, you are selling something. Now, you're selling an idea, you're selling information, you're selling thoughts, you're selling a vision, right? If you're wanting to go to a movie, you're selling the idea of going to that movie. Hey, you know, spouse, let's go on a date night and let's go to this movie. Well, why this movie over a different movie? Well, why should we go on a date? Why should we go to dinner? Why should we? I'm not even kidding. Like, every sentence that comes out of your mouth is selling, right? It's marketing.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think that's the first place I'd start. The second place I'd go is when you can create genuine authenticity in who you are and not trying to be somebody else, that is when you can really hit your peak performing states, right? Where, and I've had this, man. I think I've been through these stages in so many different aspects, and you can even attest to this because, just ask him stories about not letting him eat lunch when we were out working because I was just grinding and working hard.
I'll never forget that.
See, but look at what that experience has, been able to do for you. But no, man, it's funny, but at the same time, it's so real because, I think at that moment, that's who like I was. I wanted to help teach, and I wanted to teach by example, not by talking, right? Because I think there's a lot of that in the world today. I think there's a lot of talking and no action.
Yeah, do as I say, not as I do kind of stuff.
Yep, exactly. And when it comes to just marketing yourself, I mean, it's how you show up in the world and how you show up in your day-to-day life is how people are going to look at you. And, I've gotten to points in my life where I've had, extreme amounts of success. I've made more money than I ever thought I could. And I started getting caught in this trap and this mindset of, okay, well now, I've got to raise my standard of living. I've got to go out and get the fancy car, and I've got to, dress super nice, and I've got to play this part. And then as I got down the road, I just realized, man, this is not who I am. And this is almost like offensive to my brand. It's offensive to who I am as a person. And it's not meeting the criteria of the type of people that I want to work with anyway. Because my target audience is being able to say, look, I'm an average everyday guy. And these are some of the things that through experience and through failure and through learning, I've been able to understand so that you don't have to make the same mistakes I did. Like, learn from my successes and from my failures and apply them in a way that's going to fit your needs, right? And I love that approach more than, hey, I'm the cool guy up, that's the man and knows everything and I'm the expert, where the mindset shift for me was, look, I'm just like you are. I don't know. Have you heard of Jordan Belforth?
No.
So Jordan Belforth is the guy that was the Wolf on Wall Street. And he has one of the most incredible trainings I have ever, like by far, two of the best trainings I've ever heard is one done by him and then one done by Grant Cardone, which is the Closer Survival Guide. But anyway, Jordan Belforth, this guy was a guy who did some amazingly shady things. He went to prison because of it. But when he got out of prison, he basically said, I want to turn my story around because I understand this principle of if I'm selling something to somebody and they need it, all I'm doing is helping them make an educated decision, right? They have to make a decision, and I want to help them come to an educated conclusion, right? Okay. And so that is what creates the foundation for really every marketing, sales, image, conversation, or even just example because of how you show up and what you look like and how you dress. But that is where everything begins. Because the moment that you can understand that concept and that idea is when everything begins to change, and you look at life through a different lens and you look at it through a different perspective, because people need things, right? There's needs and there's wants, but people need certain things. And if they need it and you have the solution, that's what entrepreneurship is, right? I mean, at its finest, it's taking a problem and creating a solution.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I can't say it any better than that. That's perfect.
Yeah, man. I'm trying to think the next phase that I'd go, from the rancher standpoint is, oh yeah, that's where I was going to go. So the authentic, genuine you, right? The real you. Who are you? Like, I love that question. Like, who are you? What defines you? What are your morals and standards that hold you accountable? And what is your character, right? Character is the absolute greatest asset we have, personally, because nobody can take that away from us, because it's our choice and our decision to keep that character intact. And they can tempt us to diffuse that situation, but they can't take it away. Right.
Right. Uh-huh.
So going back to the cowboy and the rancher scenario, if I'm trying to develop a relationship, like something that's good, heartfelt, and genuine, how am I going to start that conversation? How am I going to start that presentation?
Right. It could be something as simple as, "Hey, I like your boots or your hat or whatever," and just build on that. Talk about the boots and the hat. Ask them what brand they are, blah blah blah, and then you can just build on that, right?
And what happens, right? Because we dress the same, we are the same, right? We have common ground. We have a common denominator that keeps us together in unity.
Right. And common denominator is kind of where I was going. It doesn't have to be how you dress specifically. It could be how you talk, how you do your hair, what glasses you wear. You wear a button-up shirt or an F-150 hat, right? Like I mean, but if you find that common denominator, then you can build something on that, and that's the important thing. That's the marketing thing.
Yep. Another one of the best things I've ever learned is how do you get somebody talking about themselves, right? And look at this, okay? This is crazy. What is the first question typically we ask somebody when we first meet them?
How's it going?
After that,
What's new?
if you've met them for the first time,
Oh,
what
how
do
are
you
you?
do
What's
for
your
a
name?
living?
Oh, what do you do for a living? Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay, so what do you do for a living? If someone hates what they do, how do they perceive you? If you just ask that question.
It's funny you mentioned that because I always ask people how work's going because I don't know. It's just nice to ask, right? And I like to hear people's stories. And my brother-in-law, like, he doesn't like his job. Uh, and I knew he didn't really like it, but I didn't know he didn't like it as much as he doesn't like it. And so I just asked him just conversation, and man, he was like, he basically told me not to ask him that again.
Right. But most people that don't know you, they're not going to say that.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
So one of the best questions, and this is, this comes from one of my really good friends. I actually hired him as a coach to help me, in my business. Basically, he's like a business strategist. And this question, dude, has changed everything about developing relationships. And this is the first question I ask, right?
Mhm.
And it's, hey, what besides work are you most passionate about?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because what does that do? That automatically makes them start talking about what they are so excited about. Is it your family? Is it the outdoors? Is it, what are these things? Because dude, you could go on, right? People want to talk and people want to tell their story, but
Yeah.
we live in such an interesting dynamic of a world where we just don't want to open our mouths and we don't want to have conversations with people. And
Mhm.
so we want to be heard, but we're not willing to speak, right? And so if you give the ground, you could have conversations that go on for hours
Oh yeah.
because they're starting to talk about themselves and you're just asking questions and it's not even so much that you're asking questions, but you're getting them to really open up to you. And what that does is it builds trust, right? And that's what marketing is. Marketing is building trust and building validation in a common idea.
Yeah.
And when you can do that, that's when you say, okay, product A and consumer B, these two need to meet because this is the problem and here's the solution. And it's all done through telling a story, but it's done by creating trust. The story creates the trust and it
Yeah.
creates the validation and it creates that warm blanket feeling of I'm wrapped up in a big hug
Yeah. Uh-huh.
because people just get the warm and fuzzies because they've made a connection, right? It's like they've been tapped and it's like, boom, light bulb, this, I need to buy this thing, or I need to do this thing because it makes sense. It makes me feel good. And, it's going to help me produce results, whatever.
Yeah. No, and I love that you said that because in some of the books that Tim and I have read, and I've talked about this before, is you always in marketing you want things to be positive all the time. And this goes down to even signs in a store or restaurant. You go in a restaurant, no shirt, no shoes, no
Right.
service.
Yep.
right? Kind of a negative tone. But you go into Jimmy John's and it
Yep.
says, "We'd love to see you naked, but we can't."
Yep. Yep.
And it's just that total positive shift. And that question, I love. What do you like to do? Because now they're talking about something they like, and it becomes positive, and that is a perfect thing. I love it.
And did I guarantee you this? You know, if you want one major takeaway, is go ask this question to the next 10 people that you talk to,
Yeah, I'll do that.
and track your results and see what happens.
All right,
And
man.
and you'll be amazed at the difference. What besides work are you most passionate about?
Yeah.
And they will just, it will go to such a deep conversation, and you're all of a sudden like best friends now because you took an interest, right? You cared a little bit, you cared enough to help them feel validated and appreciated.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's key. Dude, thank you so much. It's been so awesome having you on here. It's been awesome to talk about how we can use marketing in our daily life. And this has been awesome, man. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, dude. Happy for the opportunity. And you know, I just get fired up about this stuff, and so I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, thanks, man. Again, this is Marketing Shop Talk. You can find us on YouTube and Facebook, Marketing Shop Talk. And any comments, questions, thoughts, whatever, put them in comments in Facebook and YouTube and whatever. We'd love to hear what everyone else has to say, and just build this culture of learning about marketing. So thanks again, guys. And thanks, Dave.
You bet, man. Awesome. Stop this recording.